RMJ Movie Reviews back again with an on-the-fly movie review of Creed 2. Well. When the original Creed came out, I think that was 215 now, y'all. I'm forgetting. I think that was when that came out in 215. I had no anticipation for that movie at all. I didn't ask for it. Nobody else asked for it. But I'm a longtime fan of the Rocky movies. Grew up watching all of them. And I loved Rocky Balboa. The last movie in the series previous to this spinoff, these two spinoff movies. I thought Rocky Balboa was just the perfect complement. But I love all the movies, you know. I even like Rocky 5, you know. It's my least favorite out the original Rockies, but I even like 5 and all its cheesiness. But either way, Creed was fantastic. The first movie, it was great. I love Ryan Coogler. Michael B. Jordan, I was never the most gigantic fan of, but he won me over after that movie. I remember a lot of his work before that, but I definitely have followed him a lot more since he did the first Creed. And the first Creed was just a great movie all around. I loved it. Creed 2, I had no anticipation for, based solely on the fact that Ryan Coogler wasn't going to be directing this time. I was really disappointed because Ryan Coogler is one of my favorite directors now. I mean, I think the dude is great. But my anticipation dropped because I knew he wasn't going to be directing this film. I know he's co-producing it, but I was kind of like, And then when I heard the story, I mean, I think they were already stretching credibility by making basically a direct sequel to Rocky 4, which, you know, look, we all love Rocky 4 because we all used to watch it on cable and on VHS tape, and some of us who weren't little kids when it came on video and cable, who were teenagers, remember seeing the theater, love it for that reason. But, you know, it necessarily wasn't dying for a spin-off storyline, so I think they stretched it. And I think the big mistake with this film is the fact that you actually have him directly fighting Drago's son. I just think the whole concept to it is cheesy. Overall, I really did like the movie. I did like it. There's some story issues. The basic story issue, I think, is just the fact that you got the Dragos actually come back into the movie. I really just thought it was... It's a prime example of sometimes there's things that are better left to the imagination. You don't have to see it. I think just the fact that they brought them into the movie really stretches suspension of disbelief. But I will say, regardless of the fact that Ryan Coogler is not directing, this new gentleman, I'm sorry, excuse me guys, I forget his name, but I know he's from my hometown. He's from Cleveland. The guy really did a great job. I mean, I think what lies with the problems of the movie is that, number one, Adonis Creed in this, he's a complete jackass. I mean, he's a total jackass. I mean, I know some YouTube movie reviews like Rambo Wrath had stated that he didn't like the film because he thought Adonis was just such a jackass. But, you know, I kind of could level with his character in the first movie because that was supposed to be his arc. He was supposed to go from this little bratty jerk person to really just understanding his place in the world and that he's his own man and not to be angry at everybody because of the situation he was born into. But this time around, you know, there's no excuses. I mean, he's overcome his personal obstacles, and now he's just being a jackass, and he's just a nasty jerk. He says some things to Rocky. It's not just like friends getting into it. He says like really nasty, hurtful things to Rocky. And, you know, Rocky didn't even want to come back to train him in the first movie. And for this man to be sick like he was and come back and train him, and then you say something, the nasty things he said to him in this movie. I really did not like the character of Adonis in this movie. I really could not stand him. I thought he was, I just thought he was a punk-ass brat. The character in the movie. I just thought in this sequel he was just a punk-ass brat. I couldn't stand him. And for me, when the final fight came, I wasn't really pulling for him. You know, there's a scene, and another thing too is I'm okay with these movies following the beats. All the original Rocky movies followed the same beat. They do the same thing here. But my whole thing is there's a beat in the movie where Adonis learns his lesson for not listening to Rocky, and Rocky basically comes to say like, hey, to check on him, and he's still a jerk to him, and I'm just like, what? And I'm looking at him like, wait. You're in this position because you're a fool. Rocky told you not to be a fool, and you went up there and acted like a fool anyway and got yourself in this jam. And you mad at Rocky because you're a fool? I really could not stand his character in this movie. I couldn't stand Adonis Creed. He was just a little spoiled brat. And I didn't even think matter of fact, I just couldn't stand the character. But I will say, it was the dramatic moments, the ones that involved Stallone were really good. Tessa Thomas, she was good. Claire, Felicia Rashad, I even like Felicia Rashad's performance better in this film than the original. She was really good here, really good in this movie. But Felicia Rashad will always be Claire Huxtable to me, always. But she's fantastic in the movie. Dolph Lundgren and the gentleman who plays his son, it really establishes their relationship. And I really, Dolph Lundgren, people have always knocked him for decades about how he's not a good actor and blah blah blah, but he really has some strong moments in this film. I was a little bit worried in the beginning that it was just gonna be Dolph kind of just doing his little, Dolph kind of does that sleepy-eyed little kind of like I'm gonna jack you up look that he has on his face, and he does that. But there's I love there's one moment that establishes their relationship, and it's the way Drago wakes up his son in the morning. He punches him to wake him up in the morning. I mean, hey kids, that's the way you want to wake up before breakfast, is a blow to the chest. So that really set the tone of what relationship this is. And also, I'd like to add, I'm not going to give away spoilers, but there was some faces that popped up in this thing, and I kind of was like, whoa. Now, the faces that popped up in this movie is strictly for us old movie fans, the 30s and 40-somethings and up. That was quite shocking that they brought back some of the faces. So they're kind of going Fast and the Furious territory, where if you're going to keep extending this thing, you might as well bring back the same actors. I'm liking that movies are doing that now, because back in the 80s and the 90s, they were firm believers in just get a different actor. And I love the fact that they're being truthful and bringing back the actors who played certain roles. But Dolph Lundgren has some really good dramatic moments, especially when he spoke. I don't think Russian is not his native language, but when he had some scenes in Russian at this dinner table, really good scene. There's a scene between Rocky and Drago in Adrian's, and Dolph he has this moment where he says like, we go to fight, and he does this with his fist, and it was a really good moment. He played that very well. Dolph really has some good actor moments in this thing, really good stuff. But really what lies in the problem is, number one, bringing the Dragos to the forefront, I just think stretch credibility too far. Adonis just being a major jackass really brought the movie down like a lot of notches. I mean, I just wasn't invested in the final fight. It was fun to watch the final fight because it's fun to just watch them train and the training montages and the fighting. That's fun to watch, but I really wasn't in it with him, and I didn't feel he deserved it because he already had so much. He had a loving mother. He got a beautiful girlfriend, a beautiful baby. He's got a surrogate like father with Rocky. He already has so much, and it's still not enough for him. He's just a spoiled brat, and his spoiled brat attitude and his motivation really just ultimately, and other little problems with the story. It's fun. It's a fun movie, and it's entertaining. and I did enjoy it. But in my personal opinion, I think it's not as good as the first one. Uh, this one is entertaining, um, but I think the first one was a much better film. I just think that the first one was just so much better than this one to me. So look, it's fun. I recommend it, but the story issues and Adonis just being a total jackass just really takes the movie down a couple notches, at least personally for me. But I will say that there was two dramatic moments with Adonis at Apollo's grave and Rocky kind of dramatic moments. You guys will know it when it happens. That I was like, man, it kind of, I welled up a little bit. It was just like, man, it was really good. Matter of fact, I remember there was a couple people in the theater who were like, oh, I mean, it was really heavy, man. And I think that's ultimately what brings people back to these Rocky movies is really, these are Creed movies, but the reality is that Stallone is the core. He's the anchor, you know, and Stallone is he's fantastic at just writing this character, and he plays it again. You know, people don't want to give Stallone the credit, man, but he's a fantastic actor when he's not, you know, doing what he's got to do and just getting a check to pay the bills like all of us do. But when he's really in it, Stallone is firing on all cylinders. Michael B. Jordan does a good job, but it's just that the character was written to be such a jerk in this that, you know. But anyway, that's my review of Creed 2. It's fun. It just has some problems with the character of Adonis and some story issues, but it's still fun, and I recommend it. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, hit the thumbs up, leave comments down below about what you all thought of Creed 2 and some of the performances and some of the surprises, and RMJ Movie Reviews. I'll see you guys soon.